What happens when you take a popular YouTube pilot that's meant for YouTube, gets purchased by A24, and then gets brought to Amazon in order to be developed into a series for Amazon Instant Streaming Service? Well, you get Hazbin Hotel. And Hazbin Hotel is an adult animated musical comedy created by Vivienne Medrano, otherwise known as Vizzy-Pop. The show itself follows Charlie Morningstar, who's the princess of hell on her mission to rehabilitate sinners through her establishment, the Hazbin Hotel. Obviously, Hazbin, you can get the meaning of it there. But their idea here is to make it a peaceful solution to hell's overpopulation crisis. The series is extremely adult, blends a lot of dark humor, a great deal of emotional depth, and a lot of musical elements. It also has a very compelling cast of highly colorful characters, like Charlie's girlfriend and hotel manager Veggie with her own dark secret, the porn star Angel Dust, who largely hates what he does but is still willing to take a D for the team, and of course the powerful radio demon Alistair, which we still don't know everything about yet. Never mind all the other characters like Husk, Mimsy, and Serpentius, and everybody else. The show is wild. And it wasn't really one that was on my radar for a long period of time. As long as I've been around doing YouTube, I haven't really been invested in a lot of the stuff that comes out of it, to be honest with you. It's one of those weird things. But a lot of my audience was recommending that I check out Hazbin Hotel. They kept telling me, Matt, you're going to like the show. It's dark humor. You love to swear. You love dick jokes. It's going to be right up your alley. And so I checked out a bit of the pilot. It didn't necessarily grab me at first. I'll be fully honest with you. When I was watching the pilot episode, alongside of the other one, Hell of a Boss, that Vizzy-Pop did, it was like, okay, I can see why people like it, but it's not 100% something that is going to grip me. And I don't quite know why. It does kind of have everything I like, but something about it was just kind of off-putting. It wasn't until the show came out on Amazon that I finally sat down to give it a watch, and I have to say that it's remarkably good. It takes a little bit of time to get going, but when it gets going, it hooks you, especially at the end of the first episode. Because when I was thinking about the idea of what Hazbin Hotel is, right? When I was thinking about the idea of what this particular show is going to be about, what struck me as funny was the concept, right? It's just a story about the princess of hell running a rehabilitation center, almost like a methadone clinic for demons. She wants to get them into heaven. Interesting concept. Now you're going to have to fill in the rest of the blanks, meaning the world building of hell, why they want to get into heaven, why there is an overpopulation crisis, and everything else that's going on with the world around them. And it was one thing that at first I'm kind of like, okay, this show might run the risk of beating a dead horse right off the bat. And honestly, the first episode is a little bit tough to get through in regards to that. But it wasn't until the end of the episode when we find out the hook of the season, which is during one of heaven's mass slaughters, yearly extermination of the souls of hell, which, by the way, where do souls go when they die? That's one thing the show doesn't really talk about much, is like heaven comes down and just eviscerates a whole bunch of souls once a year for no real reason. They're already in hell. How is there an overpopulation crisis? How exactly would any of that break into heaven? Anything, right? They don't really ever go through any of that kind of stuff and tell you what exactly is happening. And they still, by the end of the first season, like, you kind of get an idea of it, right? So largely it has a lot to do with just, I think, Adam being the first man, the key angel, his hatred of Lucifer for stealing Lilith, his ex. And that's probably why he wants to do it, is to cause pain onto Lucifer. And that's why. I mean, maybe that's actually, maybe now that I'm thinking about it out loud, that's probably the reason, right? He's just pissed off that he got cucked by Lucifer. And so he has spent an eternity trying to, hurt Lucifer by exterminating souls in hell. But also Lucifer and Lilith broke up. Lilith went who knows where at the beginning of the season. Charlie's been on her own. Her dad is pretty much just an absent father who is going through a very serious bout of depression until like the last episode, really. And then it's like there's a cool world building here, and there's elements of it that kind of make sense as I'm talking about it. But at the same time, it's like they don't connect the dots all just yet, and maybe they don't have to. Maybe they don't have to, right? Because Charlie is like this, she's unsure of herself. She wants to do it. She believes in herself. She's confident, but she still has that, I don't quite know. Vaggie is really protective of her, still trying to figure out why they named her Vaggie. I think maybe it was just a joke, right? But they got Stephanie Beatriz, Mirabelle from Encanto in order to voice her, which I thought was pretty great because she's actually a really good singer and she's really funny. And I think she brings a lot of depth to the character. That being said, her particular role in the show is very similar to Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like, she's got that gruff attitude, and that's probably why they cast her in the role. She is very bubbly. Like, if you ever listen to any interview with Stephanie Beatriz, she is exceptionally bubbly. She is very, very high-spirited. She's very energetic. She's very much Mirabelle from Encanto more than Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But here they basically got her playing kind of the same role. And that's actually, to be fair, kind of similar to Twisted Metal on Peacock, also has her playing a very similar role, a gruff exterior with a warm, gooey apple pie center. And I think that's one of the things that might actually kind of hurt the show, because it does feel like that is a bit typecasting for who she is. And she's much, 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 much better than just that. But she is really good in the show. Honestly, like, her and Keith David are the two big names on the show. Keith David is, of course, Keith David. Need I say more? Dare I say anything else? No, the man's a legend. The man's the GOAT. The man is a lot of fun. But even his character, Husk, is one that you really don't get much more with until towards like the end of the season, where him and Angela start to kind of bond over their mutual predicament, which is that they are both effectively stuck. They're stuck being slaves to somebody else. They sold their soul for a different reasons across the board to different people, right? Angel Dust sold his soul to Valentino, who kind of is like the criminal underlord, one of them of hell. Then you've got like, I think the TV demon is another one, and they're all kind of in cahoots with one another. And then you've got like more of like the more established like demons, like the cartel mafioso types that play a part towards the end of the show. And again, it's like Alistair has Husk is soul. We don't, we know why, but it's like, okay. But then somebody has Alistair's soul as well, but we don't know why. So it's like, that's the thing that the show is kind of weird, is like the one thing that everybody has to get rid of, or the only commodity in hell is their souls. But if they're stuck there, then why sell their souls? Like, I mean, there's, many reasons. It's like gambling, it's addiction, who people were in Earth when they died and they went to hell is kind of the form that they took, and everything else. And you have to kind of piece it all together. Obviously, not all of it's going to be handed to you on a silver platter, but it is something that I think they could have done maybe a little bit more. The episodes were a little bit on the shorter side. I will think, again, one of my general criticisms of the show is the music. Not that it's bad. It's just largely unnecessary in a show like this. I understand that, Vizzy Pop has a passion for animation and musical theater and storytelling, and she put all of that together in her pilot episode that was largely funded by her Patreon fans that came out in October 28th, 2019, and it gained like rapid popularity. You know what I mean? Like, with 98 million views at this point in time. And then after that, the show was picked up by A24 after it caught that studio's attention. And A24 is a studio known for very high quality productions. Their movies are very, A24-ish. We can all kind of tell what they do. But here they chose to go after a TV show that was very dark, very comedic, very animated, very musical, and they wanted to kind of enter more into the mainstream. So they chose to kind of use this as their stepping stone into that. And they got Amazon on board. And look, right now, if you're A24, especially after 2023 or 2022, 2023, you're having a good time, right? You're having a good time. Everything Everywhere All at Once winning Best Picture, A24. Michelle Yeoh winning Best Actress, Ki Young Kwe winning for Best Supporting Actor, that's A24. You've got Brendan Fraser for The Whale, that's A24. I mean, they dominated the 2023 Oscars. We know that, right? And so obviously they want to now branch into more of the mainstream, and this is a good way to do it. And they also used the animation studio house Bento Box, which is known for doing Bob's Burgers. Fun little factoid about that. When Disney picked up the 20th Century Fox's entertainment assets, they got the rights to Bob's Burgers. What they didn't get is they didn't get ownership over Bento Box, which is still owned by News Corp or the Fox Corporation today. So that's really weird. So the show is actually made by employees of Rupert Murdoch. And it's a very left-wing show. I just thought that was kind of funny. No one's talking about that. But again, I don't care. It's like, I love Bob's Burgers. That's a very left-wing show, very liberal. And yet, again, same situation. Bento Box does good jobs for animation. I'm in no way besmirching them or diminishing their accomplishments. I'm merely pointing out that that's a little interesting piece of information. But anyway, I'm kind of all over the place on this, and I'll fully admit. Let me go back to the hook of the show. At the end of the first episode, we find out that someone was able to kill an angel. And that is the whole reason why Adam wants to start ramping up his extermination of souls in hell, because he's afraid that somebody might be able to stop them. Somebody might be able to stand up to them. They killed one. They don't know who, they don't know how. And of course, over the season, we kind of start to figure that out. But again, even though that is ultimately like the hook, our main characters know nothing about that. They know nothing about that. They just know that there's another extermination that's coming, and they want to get, they want to get a meeting in heaven to try to talk to the seraphim in order to try to get her to stop this. And that's really about it. And this is where, again, like, she meets up with Lucifer, and he's just this depressed guy living alone in his cave or his tower or whatever. And he's an absentee father. And then they have a whole coming together scene, which I thought was nice. But at the same time, it's like, there's some tropes with this that are kind of lazy, to be fair. There are some elements of this that maybe didn't necessarily work out as well as they wanted it to. And I do feel, again, ultimately, that the music is something that I know is going to do well for a lot of musical theater fans and people who enjoy that kind of stuff. And I don't know if it's going to win any awards. It probably will when they get around to that particular time of year. But for me, as just an animation fan, it ain't for me. I kind of tuned out during those parts. Some of the songs were okay, but largely I just kind of went, meh, whatever. I'll zone out for a minute, surf my phone until it's over, because I didn't care. I've never cared. Musical theater and me have never fully mixed. I like some, like Avenue Q and everything, but it's never really gripped me. Maybe upon a rewatch it might grip me again, but upon first involvement of it or first viewing of it, I didn't really think it was like the greatest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? And so as I wrapped up the show, and they fought all of the demons, and they got the cannibals on board, they fought all the angels, they got the cannibals, they got everybody to come together in order to fight Adam and everything. What was great was Alistair standing up and defending the hotel because he cares about it. I thought that was really good. And of course, he almost got completely yeeted by Adam, and he had to kind of sulk away, which is going to leave a door open for his enemies to be able to try to come on in. That's going to clearly be a season 2 problem. But then we find out that he's also got a chain around his neck. We just don't know by who. I'm sure we're going to find that out in season 2. Adam then tries to fight Lucifer, or to go after Charlie, but then Lucifer shows up. And there's a line there that I thought was really interesting that, again, I wish they would have spent more time with. Okay, remember what I said before is Adam hates Lucifer because Lucifer freaking cucked him. All right. Like with Lilith. Okay. And so that's kind of the whole thing, the whole reason for this. All right. So that's why Adam is kind of going after Charlie to get to Lucifer. Lucifer has been a bitch for a long time. He's just not done anything. He's just been crying to himself, everything else. Right. Well, now he shows up and they get into a big fight. And Lucifer goes, oh, about time. Or no, I think it was Adam who says something along the lines of like, oh, it's about time you showed up or something. And then he just goes, and this is, I'm not going to lie, this was a badass line. I just wish he would have earned it a bit more. He just says, I'm the only one that matters. And I'm like, yeah, man. All right, cool. You go, you get that. You fight that. I thought that was good. Again, I love the line. It works in context, but at the same time, I wish he would have earned it a little bit more. I just feel like if you're going to do a mic drop like that, and you're going to now have the central conflict between the villain and the protagonist's father, which is really the conflict, it should be a bit built up more to that. But then ultimately they defeat him. He gets stabbed to death, and then he dies, and then Penchus dies, which I thought was like, okay, he's gonna sacrifice himself. He goes to heaven. Hey, what do you know? He goes to heaven. Now we have a loophole. Now we've got season 2. What's going to happen with this one? And then we find out that Lilith is back in heaven, or she's somewhere being protected. We don't quite know why. That's the end of the season. Good stuff. It is good stuff. I mean, there's good story elements there. Angel Dust kind of stops, when he stops being as selfish and starts looking after everybody, realizing that he loves everyone. Sir Penchus, who is a villain, but then becomes a hero in the end. There's good character motivations. There's good character development all the way through. At no point does this show not try to elevate characters and give them good hero moments, and moments of clarity, moments of self-reflection, and moments of doing the right thing. Obviously, all because Charlie has inspired them, and Charlie is leading them. Even though she doesn't fully believe in herself, she is getting them on the right path. Her plan is going to work. Her plan is going to work, and she's going to be okay. I think that's pretty cool. But in the meantime, I look forward to season 2. I think they gave an announcement. I'm not too certain of it, but I am always curious to know your thoughts and your opinions. Let me know down in the comment section. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great one. Thank you for watching Podio Commentary. Subscribe if you're new, and peace out.